beginning of this project, I'd set myself the task of following one particular music student through her processes into releasing an EP, under her stage name Fawn at her request. I managed to organise time to film her music video production and been given details into her showcase performance and granted permission to film backstage footage of the show and film other artists in the showcase as well. However, I missed an opportunity to film her while she was recording some of her tracks, but managed to get hold of her while she was finishing up mastering tracks before the release date. You have your EP release. When?
It's just gone. It was on the 30th of April. Spectral Being. It's a 5-song album. Our Letter, Conflict, Goodbye Lullaby, House of Mirrors and Ghost.
Do you prefer writing over producing?
Definitely. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with me here, but I feel like you can be more creative with it. Not as a general rule, because I know you can do a lot of things with producing that's very creative, but I don't know, I stick to what I know, it's more of a comfort zone, yeah.
I know you're in Booth Criminals?
Yes.
Booth Criminals, and there's a solo artist as Fawn. Do you prefer working as a band or working as a solo artist?
I'd say working in a group I prefer, because I like the whole different inspirations, different experiences. So like Jake's our guitarist and he is fantastic, he knows so many chords, and the same with Martin, our bassist. They are really good at the whole musical side of things, and so they write the music and we write the lyrics and vocal melody. I just like working with other people, the other inspirations. I do like collaborations, but the only problem with working in groups is that you can be open to be let down. At least as a solo artist, you can only rely on yourself. If anything goes wrong, that's your fault and you're alone.
Is there anything that you would suggest to me for working with artists like yourself?
I don't know if there's anything I can tell you that you don't already know. Listen to the artist, because at the end of the day, they're as creative as you are. They have their own ideas for it. It might be a story, it might not actually be like the song is true to them, but true to an original character. Yeah. If they have an idea in their head, work with that or be willing to at least listen to it. So that also goes to artists. Be willing to listen to the professionals of the visual side, because it's they know what they're doing. This is their job. I want to tour, I want to perform just in general, I want to be doing more releases, more music videos, because they are fun, they are really fun. And so to the artists who are like, oh, I don't need one, give it a shot, because it could be really good experience. I'm not going to say for 1 second that any of it's easy. A lot of people will be like, music's so easy, it's such a cop-out subject, but if you really try with it, I don't think it is.
Who or what would you say has been your biggest inspiration to date?
Yes, my dad. Experiences. I class relationships as experiences, whether those be with friends, with family, romantic relationships. Daydreams. Growing up, because that's a roller coaster in some way.
We have an EP out.
It's called Spectral Being and it is £3.
But whilst at the shoot of her music video, I'd noticed myself giving advice to the younger students, even when I told myself this is not my video and needed to stay quiet. And it made me think about how involuntarily involved I wanted to be, simply because it's something that interests me. But seeing the other students create something with techniques that I'd never used before made me feel a lot more open to how I could work with other visual artists and musicians in the future. After the sit-down interview with Fawn, I decided I wanted multiple angles from the industry. I knew her dad was a musician as well, but to my knowledge he primarily focused on performing, both as a solo artist and with his band, the Full Fat Boogie Band. I wanted to get his opinions on similar topics to see if he perceived the industry in a different light to Fawn. Fortunately for me, he was part of her music video and offered there and then to let me interview him, hence the rather impromptu setup.
How do?
Alright, how are you?
Not so bad.
With working with your band members, do you prefer band work to solo work?
It's got different advantages. Solo is a lot more lucrative, a lot more. I do some duo stuff as well, but yeah, it's rewarding to have a fully live thing where everything can possibly go wrong.
How easy is it to find people to work with post-production? Like today we're filming Fawn's music video and you are in it.
Yeah, I've not done much in the production side recently, But our sound engineer for live work, whenever we can get him, is a guy called Paul Shepherd. And his knowledge is fantastic. I mean, if we go down the route of some production soon, I'll probably be looking to work with him.
So with the finances being a problem, have you ever come close to giving up?
No. Every time I go to a gig, I'm thinking, why do I do this? I could be at home now watching rubbish and getting fatter eating takeaways, but no, you can't give it up, I don't think. If you like it, you can't give it up.
Yeah. What would you suggest to people like myself for working with people like yourself in the future?
Offer your services where you can to up-and-coming bands, or even old bands like us, because we've got footage of live gigs, but it'd be great to get a production together. Yeah.
Is there a particular gig that you do regularly and love?
It's a little pub, but because it's a little pub, it gets absolutely packed.
Yeah.
It's 15s in St Anne's.
Where would you see yourself and your music career in 5 to 10 years in comparison to now?
Exactly where it is, really. Yeah, maybe gigging a little bit more. Bigger audience somehow.
Yeah.
I don't know how you achieve that, but that'd be good.
Who or what would you say has been your biggest inspiration to date?
Ooh, that's a really tough one. You can cite loads of people who are dead. Bowie and Prince have been massive things. Louis Jordan's a massive one for me. Nat King Cole's the best voice I've ever heard. There was a three-piece band from Boston called Morphine, who were huge. I used to love a band called Japan. They had a fantastic bass player. Probably somebody who's still kicking around, who's written a lot of stuff, would be Nile Rodgers, who used to be, well, it's the Chic organisation. And it's just fantastic.
With the Full Fat Boogie Band, what is your role in the band?
I'm the loud one. The vocals, I play the saxes, keyboards and congas.
The saxophones, plural. Which is the one that you've used?
That's the baritone. That's
baritone in
yeah,
the video.
yeah.
So with music being as rewarding as it is, with working with friends, family, stuff like that, what are the hardships that come with it?
I think there's certain things. It does impact on your social life at times. The flip side is it sometimes is your social life.
Yeah.
Sometimes, pub gigs are not very rewarding at the moment, and so to make money as a band, that's kind of hard. And as you get older and less sort of pretty boy pop, yeah, that has an impact as well. You just got to learn to play your instrument then, unless you've got some good shirts.
With Full Fat Boogie Band, you do have some snazzy suits.
We do have good shirts.
We've got some snazzy suits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Anything else you'd like to add?
Let's make it look professional.
Thank you very
Cheers.
much.
This is a letter that we can never write. I need this fight.
The way in which Ray spoke about the financial hardships of performing made me wonder why Forrest Fawn was so adamant on becoming a performer. Back in late 2014 and early 2015, myself and Forrest Fawn made a duo band called Legacy and made covers of songs on the internet. As you can imagine, it was not very successful, and it was at this point I realised performing was not my thing, and I'd found my drive in music video production instead. And after one barely successful gig at a local venue with our good friend and drummer and a few views online, we decided to call it quits. Although we did get a follow from one of my favourite parody bands, and a favourite from the script, after covering one of their songs, which did inflate my ego quite a bit for like a month. Filming backstage made me see how emotionally invested people got into their own work, and the camaraderie that came with events like this. Performers were doubling up as technicians and spurring each other on before performances. Before this, I thought a lot of shows with bands and artists were more of an everyman for himself perspective, but seeing it from their eyes made me believe that teamwork more than pays off in the long run.
I don't want this fight, you're not the bad guy. There are mountains ahead that I need to climb. This is a letter that we can never write. I need this fight. We hate it as much as you do, my friend, but please help us stick it out till
I knew one of my best friends was interested in a completely different path of media to me, but had been through the same course and the same process as I had, and I was curious to know what she thought when she decided to change her field for higher education.
So, the whole purpose of this umbrella project is to get behind the scenes of the music industry. You, I do believe, are a visual arts student. What is it you do?
Basically what we do is we make short films, etc., music videos, anything media related really.
How would you say it relates to what you want to do in the future? Because I understand that you don't necessarily want to go down the same path as me. I understand that you want to go more into sort of technology based, whereas I want to go more into visual based.
Yeah.
Has this bubble that we've been in for the past 2 years helped with where you want to go?
Yeah, it's definitely helped because obviously it's giving you a clue, but how it goes into, you know, how it's all over the internet, it's all over TV, it's everywhere basically.
So social media plays a big part.
Definitely
in
plays a big part.
any
yeah.
sort of creative arts.
So yeah, so it gives me a kind of clue of what I'm gonna go into.
Because I want to do music videos,
Yeah.
is there anything you've learnt that you would give me as advice?
Just be creative. I don't know, I think what it could be is that obviously you get to know them a lot more than obviously
Have
just
more of a
making
personal
video.
relationship
Yeah.
with them.
Because then you can kind of make the video based on their personality.
Is there a particular project, video that you've made that you're especially proud of and why? Or is there one project that stood out to you more?
The friendship side of F&P definitely, because obviously it's an individual one, and we went to London. Was it London?
London and Leeds.
London and Leeds, so that was definitely one of my favourites because it was so fun to film. Because it didn't feel like I was filming. Do you know, like it wasn't an interference.
Yeah.
Sometimes it can be, but it just wasn't. It was natural and it was great. Yeah, that's definitely one of my favourites. Only because the shots look really fancy.
Do you think your FE course has prepared you well for your HE course and the job that you want to do in the future?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously with all the media. Some circumstances no, because obviously it's nothing to do with game design. It's nothing like that.
Do you think the whole teamwork
Yeah,
will
that's
help?
helped. Yeah, definitely. Because obviously when you're in a group and when you're doing something like this, but when you're in a genuine group doing it together, it can be very stressful. And because it's very stressful, you get stressed at each other, and then it can cause arguments and it can cause, you know, drama, etc. But that's when you have to be professional, and that's when you have to put that aside and actually do the work that you are set to do. And because of doing that within the past 2 years, when going into game design, that's going to be a thing where it's going to be definitely group based. So because of doing 2 years of that, it's going to just be easy. I didn't think I could do it. I didn't think I could make decent films. I didn't think I'd pass through the whole 2 years. But you know, you've done it, and it makes you feel great.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Even though Kyra's responses were focused on the gaming industry, we both have the same post-GCSE qualifications to date, but have chosen to follow completely different directions into higher education despite our similarities. After speaking with everyone and gaining the experiences I did, I have generally come to the conclusion that the music industry is as difficult, if not more so than I thought, and I more than admire those who have the passion that I didn't to maintain their enthusiasm to earn the success that they deserve. I also learnt that shows and performances are really hard to organise and even harder to participate in without knowing somebody. Money isn't everything in the music industry, as I learnt from Ray and Forrest Fawn, and paths may cross but don't necessarily align, as I learned working both alongside Kyra and Forrest Fawn. I also discovered that education is the best path for myself, and I am more than ready to continue along my path towards my own successes.
I'm in a war, and the enemy's myself, along with everybody else who wrongs me. I'm alone, so I reach out for help, take anybody's hand, then they hold my life in theirs hand. I don't want this fight, you're not the bad guy. There are mountains ahead that I need to climb.